got another great opportunity here at Providence here on Wednesday night at the Dunk. I know it's going to be a great environment. Obviously, we played them about a month ago, lost a heartbreaker to them. Bynum hit the shot, obviously, at the end of the game. They're playing really well. They're playing great basketball. It starts with him, in my opinion. He's come off the bench for the most part during Big East play. But here against Butler yesterday, he started due to Al Durham being out due to injury. But Bynum is playing at a very, very, very high level, shooting the ball almost 50% from three. He's playmaking. He makes all the big plays down the stretch for them. And obviously they got big Nate Watson, who's one of the better front court players in the entire country. Also the Big East, obviously. It kind of starts with those two guys, and then Al Durham. For them to go to Butler, win on the road, I think they were down by, I want to say 18 or 19 points there in the second half at Hinkle, which is a really hard place to play, and for them to be able to come back and win the game in overtime without Al, speaks volumes out to how good they are. So, I always say with Providence, number one, we got to control the glass. Number two, we got to have a great attack against their zone, which can slow a lot of teams down with their size and their length. And then number three, we have to value the ball, right? We have to take care of it. We have to, again, we've done a pretty good job over that over the last few games, and that's got to maintain in this game.
Travis, when you look at the season as a whole and you sort of look at the games where you guys have had success, maybe it's the whole game, maybe it's a half, maybe there's little spurts here and there, but when you look at those, are there consistent themes that have sort of revealed themselves, things like you can look at and point to and say, hey, when we're doing X, Y, and Z, we're looking how we want to look?
Yeah, I think when we can get our defense set, we've been pretty good this year defensively overall. And I think that's with shot selection and turnovers, which I do like. At UConn, I thought we took great shots for the most part. We got really good looks. I think there was probably 6 or 7 shots that were tough shots, but I think that's been critically important for us when we've been really good, and then just being the aggressor, right? I think getting deflections, being able to score a little bit off our defense. We did that in the second half against UConn as well when we went on our run. I think anytime in this league that you just try to play half-court basketball, the scouting's so good, right? The coaching's so good. The players are so good. It's hard to score in the half court. I don't care what team it is. You got to be able to strike a little bit in transition. And we got to be able to pick and choose our spots, because I think we got to slow the game down at the same time right now. But I think we got to be able to score a little bit more off of our defense and allow us to get some easy baskets.
Do you have any kind of an update on Nate? Is he able to practice yet?
He is not. I don't anticipate him practicing today. I do think he's getting better. Hopefully, I'm hopeful that he'll play obviously on Wednesday night. Hopeful. We'll see kind of how he reacts here. Hopefully, he'll be able to practice tomorrow, leading up to the Providence game.
And this is still just lingering soreness, or is anything else going on here?
No, it's and I don't want to It's more than so. It hurts. Right, so it's not like, hey, I'm just sore from being in the weight room a little bit. Like it hurts and it's painful, but everything as far as like ligaments go, Adam, are fully intact. All that's fine. So it's just a matter of honestly just time and what Nate's kind of comfortable with, and to be able to get back out there on the floor. And again, he knows his body obviously better than any of us. He's feeling it. When he feels like he's ready to roll, we obviously need him out there and be excited to have him play.
Travis, how's Jack doing? You look at his minutes recently. He's playing a lot. He looked really tired in the second half at UConn, and I know that was probably a part of the way that you guys were playing with your full court pressure, and it kind of got into a little bit of a track meet. But how's he holding up at this point of the year?
I think he's holding up pretty well. He got real sick before the St. John's game. And even during that game, he looked wiped, I thought. We play a lot through him, though, and his body's holding up well. We'll give him certain days off of practice just to make sure his back's feeling good, his knees are feeling good. Again, he's 7 foot tall, 245 pounds, and so we try to be really smart with that. But I thought the sickness kind of threw him off there last week. He's feeling a lot better now, a lot better. But I do think, it's you said it, Adam. Like, I think we got to pick and choose our spots of when we're going to push and when we're going to pressure and when we can do things, especially with the amount of minutes that a guy like Jack's playing. And Jack's been one of our better players this year, and I think he's playing like an all-conference guy. And we got to keep him out there on the floor, but we got to keep him fresh at the same time, and for him to be at his best and for us to be at our best.
How do you get Paul going again the way that he's capable? And I want to preface that or follow it up with,
Yeah.
I thought Paul played really hard on Saturday at UConn, but he did not really have an impact on the game that like we've seen him have previously. So what's sort of the key to getting him on track and getting him involved?
Yeah, he's just got to, for him, I told him, I said a couple things. Number one, you can't force plays, right? I think, if guys help, you got to kick it. Number two, you got to change speeds. Like he plays too much at one speed, right? And the great ones, they're constantly changing speeds, just like pitching, right? Again, I wasn't a great baseball player growing up, but I love the Reds, and if the pitchers pitches the same pitch nonstop, same speed, they're easy to hit. It's the same thing in basketball. If you play one speed, it's easy to get a beat on. And I think his change of speed's got to be better. He's got to be able to get in the paint for us. He's got to be able to make the right play. And listen, if that is to kick the ball or that's to drop it off, then great. That's what we'll do. But he's got to be able to just do what the game tells him to do. Be aggressive though. Be aggressive getting to the paint. Driving, getting by somebody, not just trying to back a guy down from 15 feet, right? Like, can you get by somebody cleanly? And because that's what ultimately puts a lot of pressure on the rim, that gets you to the free throw line. That'll create more opportunities for him and quite honestly, for his teammates as well.
Travis, a lot of your roster, they've been through college basketball. They know the ups and downs that we've talked about before. When you're sort of stuck a little bit in a spot where you're at right now, what are you showing them? Are you talking to them about past Savior teams? How are you sort of helping them get over the hump with 4 games left in the regular season?
Yeah, you see it across all sports, right? I said this after the UConn game. You look at the 2 teams that were in the Super Bowl. You look at the Rams. I think they did not win a game in November, right? Put together the super team, so-called super team. You get Odell Beckham, you have Aaron Donald, you have Stafford. They went all in on it, right, to get to the Super Bowl. And it's like, man, all of a sudden things started looking a little shaky for them. Like, man, I don't think they're that good. Not as good as what everybody thought. Then they win the Super Bowl. Same thing with the Bengals. The Bengals, I think a lot of people probably forget that their path wasn't always smooth. Right, they had to beat the Chiefs, obviously here at Paul Brown downtown. Which the Chiefs are a really good team in order to cement their status where they were. And listen, there's turns in the road. Again, you just got to stick with it. You got to stay positive, and we got to execute our system better on both ends of the floor. And if we do that, we play hard, and we play together, then I think we'll get the result that we want. And having guys like Jack, Paul, Nate, Adam, guys that have been around college basketball, man, it goes a long way because they've been through stuff like this. They've seen it. They've seen a little bit of everything, right? When you're up, when you're down. But the best run that we've had here since I've been at Xavier, we lost 6 games in a row there towards the end of the season. Barely beat DePaul in the Big East tournament. In the first night. Then we barely beat Butler the next night, and then we lost to Creighton, I think it was, in the semifinal game of the Big East that year. And then, a couple weeks later, we're in the Elite Eight, 40 minutes away from the Final Four. And we had to win all those games, quite honestly, just to get into the tournament. And so, again, there's a lot of twists and a lot of turns, but every season's different. Every team's different. You got to embrace it, and you got to keep staying positive and move forward.
Travis, you're about to face off against Ed Cooley, and you've been very outspoken about how much you respect Coach Cooley. I think even in your first year as head coach, you guys had lost 6 in a row, and you told a story about how he gave you a phone call at one point. I think I'm remembering that correctly.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yep.
I'm wondering, as a young coach, What's it been like to watch what he's done this year and the success that he's had, and the season that he's been able to put together, and like what does that do anything for you as a guy pretty early on in your career, seeing him sort of persevere and get to this level now?
Yeah, I mean he's done a great job with his group. I mean, phenomenal, and they're in a lot of close games. I mean, a lot, and it seems like they win dang near every one of them. He's a great coach. He's a great person. He's a great human being. He's a guy you enjoy being around. You can tell his players love playing for him, right? He does a good job both ends. He puts his players in positions where they can be successful. And you think about, like, even last year, his team, they have guys in the NBA now, right? David Duke, who's a tremendous player. You lose him to the NBA, and then all of a sudden, man, they're incredible this year. I mean, it just speaks volumes, I think, to the program he's built there. It's consistent, which I think is so hard. I think more than anything, teams will have certain really good years, but you look at what he's done, his whole body of work in his time at Providence, man. I mean, it's impressive. So what he's built, how he's built it, he's done it the right way. Got nothing but respect for Ed.